Let's talk about drawing angles in standard position. So our example is draw and level each angle in standard position, and my angles are A is 5 pi over 4 and B is negative 7 pi over 4. So what I'm going to do in order to graph these two angles, what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider my x-axis. So this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. So I have my x-axis and I have my y-axis. So now let's look at the first part. So the first part is 5 pi over 4. So what I want to do, I want to convert this 5 pi over 4 in terms of 2 pi, because 2 pi is the entire rotation. So 5 pi over 4, what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate this pi from 5 over 4. So if I do that, I will write 5 over 4 times pi. Now, if you remember, we need 2 pi over here. So how do I make this pi into 2 pi? The easiest way I can think of, multiplying and dividing by 2. So if I do that, what will I do? I will keep that 2, the denominator 2, with 4 and the numerator separate. So if I simplify further, I can write this one as 5 over 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 pi. What does that mean? It simply means that I need to divide the entire angle in how many parts? 8 parts. And then I need to consider 5 out of 8. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply divide these 4 quarters in 8 equal parts. So look at this. How many parts do I have? 1, 2 here and 2 here. And then I'm also going to divide this side right here. And let's pretend I'm dividing it equally. I'm kind of a little off on my drawing. So now let's consider how many parts do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to number it, and my numberings are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So basically, my standard position is this position right here. This is my, let me mention that, this is my standard position. So what we need to do, we need to start from a standard position. Now my next question is, how do I know if I'm going counterclockwise or clockwise? So let's look at the angle. If you look at the angle, it's 5 pi over 4. What sign do I have? It doesn't say anything, which means what? I have a positive sign. And when my angle is positive, what does that mean? I need to go counterclockwise direction. So how many parts do I need? I need 5 out of 8. So let's start counterclockwise from the standard position and count 5 parts out of 8 parts. Because I have how many parts total? 8. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I need to do, my circle will start and go all the way down to this point. So this is my starting point, which is basically what? Standard position. And this is also my starting point. And this is my terminal point or end point, terminal point, and we are going 5 parts out of 8 parts because I have total 8 parts and I am considering only 5 parts out of 8 parts, and 5 out of 8 of 2 pi. So basically if we go around, we have 2 pi, but we don't need 2 pi. We need 5 out of 8 of 2 pi. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts out of 8 parts, and this is the angle in counterclockwise direction because my angle is positive, and the value of this angle is basically the one that we drew is 5 pi over 4 radian. 5 pi over 4 radian. Alright? Now let's consider our second angle. So my second angle, if you see, that is negative 7 pi over 4. I'm going to rewrite this one and separate pi from the number. So if I write that, I'll write negative 7 over 4 times pi. And what we are doing, we are considering everything in terms of 2 pi because 2 pi is a complete rotation or revolution. So I want 2 pi over there, and how I can get 2 pi? If I multiply and divide by 2. So the numerator 2 will stay with 2 pi, but the denominator 2, this 2 will go with 4. So if I simplify, I will have negative 7 over 4 times 2 is 8, and then I have 2 pi. So basically what we're doing, we are considering 7 out of 8, I should say 7 parts out of 8 parts out of one whole complete revolution, which is 2 pi. So now let's consider our x-axis. So this is my x-axis. So this is x dash, and this is my y-axis, y, and y dash. My starting point is, this is my starting point, or I should say standard, S-T-A-N-D-A-R-D, standard position. This is my standard position, and we need to again divide the whole quadrant plane in 8 parts. So I'm going to divide in 8 parts. So as you can see, I have how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, now let's graph our angle. So if you look at the angle, my angle is negative. Look at this. I have negative angle, right? So the negative means what? Clockwise or counterclockwise? Yeah, you're right, clockwise. So we need to go clockwise, and we need to consider 7 out of 8 parts of 2 pi, because one whole revolution is 2 pi. So we need to consider 7 parts clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will be my, this is my terminal point, and I'm going clockwise direction. So this would be my angle, which is what? Negative. This angle is my what? Negative 7 pi over 4. And just to remind you, the angle is negative, so we are going clockwise, and we are considering 7 out of 8 parts. And this is how we can draw the angles in standard position without converting the angles from radian to degree.